Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson today. Um,
This story will begin in 2015 when 31-year-old
this is
Letitia
what we're going to
Hunt
listen
married
to.
the so-called love of her
And
life,
I'm
Al Stent.
crocheting
Letitia became a mother of three. She
these
was the
baby
biological
booties.
mother to her daughter Harley, who Letitia had with her late ex-husband. And now she was the
I finished
stepmother
the
to both
hat.
of Al's children,
I'm going to show
Lena
that
and
later.
Gannon. Al shared
This
custody of
is
both
the
Lena and
baby
Gannon with
booty.
his ex-wife Landon Bullard.
Okay.
Letitia has an extensive academic
It's
background,
not
including a
complete.
bachelor's degree in political
Okay, I
science
have to
from the
put
University of North
the
Carolina, Pembroke,
decorations
a
on.
master's degree in
But
curriculum and instruction from Capella University,
different
including a
sizes,
doctorate degree in
different
education from Liberty
styles.
University. Letitia worked in education in South Carolina, mainly as an assistant teacher, but also managed to pick up a few full-time teaching positions along the way. Her LinkedIn highlights one of her key job roles during that time period as an educator/teacher and an at-risk youth coordinator. However, in 2016, her South Carolina teaching license was suspended after she abandoned her teaching duties with the district after 7 days of employment. Letitia said she left because she experienced harassment and retaliation after requesting to be released from her contract due to a pending military move, which she claims had been denied. This claim had some credibility since Al worked in the Army National Guard full-time and was frequently based around the country for several weeks at a time. She also alleged that the district superintendent's niece was Al's ex-wife and that the harassment and retaliation were due to this relationship. She threatened to file a claim with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, otherwise known as an EEOC claim. When she did so, her claims were investigated and found to be unsubstantiated. Once her 180-day suspension had passed, Letitia continued pursuing her teaching career. Over the next few years, she gained employment and resigned from multiple different schools in South Carolina. Eventually, that process carried on to other states as well. In January of 2019, Al and Letitia moved to Colorado for Al's work. Letitia, Al, Gannon, Lena, and Harley all now live together on Mandan Drive, in the community of Lorson Ranch. The kids were enrolled in school, and Harley even got a new job at Massage Envy. After a few months of settling in, Letitia obtained her Colorado teaching license and became a substitute teacher in southern Alphaba County, followed by a teaching position at French Elementary.
Yes, I have dogs.
From Mountain Ridge Middle School in the Academy School District 20, located in the Briargate neighborhood of Colorado Springs. On January 24th, 2020, Letitia was attending job orientation when her conditional employment offer was rescinded due to inconsistent information during her background check. Fortunately for Letitia, she had held on to her employment at French Elementary. Regardless, it is widely believed that this moment may have acted as the catalyst for the horrific acts that soon followed. On January 26th, while Al was in Oklahoma for military training and Harley was at work at Massage Envy, Letitia, Gannon, and Lena went hiking at Garden of the Gods, a 1,341-acre public park located in Colorado Springs. This was a frequent activity of theirs, and Letitia would often post about it on her Facebook page. The photos you are seeing now are from that day. Once arriving back home, Gannon supposedly knocked over a candle and burned the carpet. She sent multiple text messages to Al about the incident, saying Gannon was scared and freaking out, but he was okay. She also posted a video to her Facebook profile where Gannon can be heard crying while Letitia tells him that he needs to choose what they will sell in order to cover the costs to repair the carpet.
Well, devastating. Initially starting live when the TMZ information.
Gannon, I promise this is the last time I'm going to ask you. I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose?
He did it.
Okay, you promise. You promise.
On purpose.
Pinky promise.
Pinky.
Okay, alright, so, listen. All right, we're going to have to sell stuff to fix it, okay? So, we figure out what we got to sell. We can sell the sofa. We can sell whatever. Because we got to get it fixed, old lady. Don't be mad at us and kick us out of the house. Okay? You got it?
The next morning, on January 27th, she texted Al that Gannon would not be going to school. She also called into work stating that her stepfather had been hit and killed by a car. This story was half true, as her stepfather had been hit and killed by a car. However, the accident had actually taken place many years earlier. Anyway, that same day, on January 27th, 2020, approximately 12 hours after calling into work, just before 7 p.m., Letitia made another phone call, this time to 911.
Location of the emergency. Well, the 16th, and then the London Drive, Colorado Springs. Jim said that one looks like a train. I was like, you're correct. And then I think so. I'm going to call it. It's like they're really fucking tired. You know what I mean? I didn't know, like, I'm supposed to call emergency, because I'm emergency, about that, like, someone told me, oh, it's the phone, I'm a seven, like, all phone calls, and then come to the phone calls, and they said, right in there, and you're gonna put everything there. I don't know when you have a call it out, and I thought, I don't know when you want to. In the book, and I don't know if there's like a time limit, or like, you know, like, you know, how to. I did it. Okay. And Tony, you learn everything. Nora, S-T-A-U-C-E.
After being directed to a non-emergency number, Letitia explained again that Gannon went out to spend some time with his friends, and that he was already about an hour late coming home. She also explained that she went to Gannon's friend's house searching for Gannon, but with no success. Despite all of this, when she was speaking to the non-emergency phone operator, she was unable to name any of Gannon's friends, or their parents, or where they lived. At 7:32 p.m., Gannon Stouck was entered into the state and national databases as an active runaway. Just under 3 hours later, at around 10 p.m., deputies with the El Paso Sheriff's Office searched Letitia's house with her permission, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The next day, on January 28th, Letitia drove her car, a Volkswagen Tiguan, to a short-term parking lot at the airport and rented a 2019 Kia Rio. She proceeded to pick Al up from the airport, who returned home from training in light of the bad news, ready to get involved in the search for his son. She told Al that she was using a rental car to avoid any mileage on her lease. This was the first red flag for Al, considering the state of emergency that they were in. Letitia also told him that she had parked her car at the elementary school where she had worked, so Al decided to drive to the school to verify this. However, Letitia's car was nowhere in sight. As previously mentioned, Letitia had actually left her car at the short-term parking lot at the airport, but she oddly decided to withhold that information from Al. Al's ex-wife / Gannon's mother, Landon, traveled from South Carolina to Colorado to stay in the Stouch household while the search efforts continued. They spent the entire afternoon of January 28th searching for Gannon before Letitia went off on her own. At around 7 p.m., Letitia brought the rental vehicle back to the airport parking lot, parked it, and then left with her Tiguan. 3 hours later, at 10:30 p.m., Letitia's biological daughter Harley picks up Letitia near North Powers Boulevard and Carefree Circle North. The Tiguan was nowhere in sight. At this point in the timeline, it is unclear what Letitia did between 7 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. In order to make this case easier to follow, we will now refer to these mysterious hours as the January 28th gap. We will circle back to this gap later. About 15 minutes after being picked up by Harley, at 10:45 p.m., Letitia texted investigators the following: "What do you want from me? Because I have nothing. One of your very own leaked to me what you guys were doing. I did nothing or am being set up. I'm not really even sure, other than being told that by another glue with El Paso. I was told I couldn't go home to sleep, and on top of that, men were sent to a home with a minor female, and she was forced to stay there and not even have good. Every conversation that said, even at this moment, I can hear inside, what do you want from me?" Detective Bethel responded with, "Come talk to me. I would just like information to find Gannon." The next morning, on January 29th, Letitia voluntarily met with El Paso Sheriff's Office investigators to discuss Gannon's disappearance. She arrived 2 hours late driving her Tiguan again, which appeared to be squeaky clean. If investigators didn't find any of her behavior suspicious just yet, Letitia seemed determined to change that in this interview. Letitia was now making several different claims.
And then just because you're in here and you're in our building and stuff, you mind if I just pat you down a little bit? That's how we hug. I do need you to face that way for me. Okay, sure. Yeah, go ahead and just put your arms out for me and just separate your legs slightly for me. There you go. Hey, how you doing? Good. Did you get some sleep?
I'm eating too.
Oh, yeah. Do you want something to eat? I've got some stuff.
I would love that.
What would you like? I've got some pizza Hot Pocket and some tamales and a breakfast burrito.
Pizza Hot Pockets would be good, but I mean, you don't have to, like, I don't
No, we can get you
Okay.
some. Yeah, that's totally fine. So what I want you to do is take
Sunday into Monday.
Okay.
And be as detailed as possible as to what you were doing, who was there, where you were at, how long you spent, et cetera, et cetera. Because the more detail I had, it might spark something for
Okay.
me.
Is it okay if I take my notes out? Because like I wrote down all
Yeah,
kinds of stuff.
yeah,
and I was like-
absolutely.
Because I was like, I tried to write down anything he might like say and just in case, because I had like notes from different things or whatever.
Letitia proceeded to tell the detectives about her timeline on the 26th, leading into the 27th. She talked about her hike at the Garden of the Gods with the kids, the candle incident that ruined the carpet, and how she let Gannon skip school due to an upset stomach. She then explained that in fear of Al getting angry at her, she panicked while trying to find a way to fix the carpet as soon as possible. To streamline the repair process, Letitia did not contact any carpet services. Instead, she went straight to the new model homes being developed nearby and asked a group of Hispanic men if anybody would take an odd job to fix the carpet. Apparently, a man named Eduardo was up to the task. She gave him the code to her garage and went on with her day.
Okay.
And
So
then-
you leave around 10 something, and then you get back around 2 something.
I feel like it was like 2:35, 2:25, 2 something. He goes in through the garage, I go in, I'm getting ready to put up things, stuff like that. And this is where it got, I made a mistake. This is it. Okay? And the guy was in there. And I gave him the code.
The guy from the...
Yeah, it's all my fault. Because I gave him a code to fix the carpet. And he was inside. And I heard something, and so I walked to the storage closet, to open the storage closet. And when I do, he was standing in there. He had a glove in the storage closet. Yeah.
Okay.
He had one of the guns. And I was terrified. I was terrified. And then he just knocked me down and like tore skin through. And he was like hitting on me. It was like hard, like on the ground. And he was trying to fight me. And I told her. I said, I have to tell you about this. And I'm sitting there like freaking out, like, okay, what are you doing?
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, he asked me to give him a suitcase, and I gave him a brown suitcase, and then he hit me on the head again. I was like, right here. He just kept like hitting me right there like that.
Okay.
And so then he did that, and I went out again. I was having a panic attack. And then I don't know what happened from there. I really don't. I don't know. I just know that. I
Looking for my scissors.
when they came, I did say, get a lift, whatever, you know that. He never did. He never left, play. I just didn't know what to do in the moment. I didn't want Albert like, trying to hurt us. We kind of get in a lot of fights. Yeah. And I'm sorry that it might have delayed, like looking for me. And I do not know where he was. I do not know. I do not know
Okay.
his whereabouts from that point on. But it was still in the same time frame that I gave you guys. So that wasn't, there was no contradictory to that same time frame, because it still was about 4 o'clock.
Need restroom or anything like
No,
that?
am I like free to leave, or?
We're not holding you here. We'd like to get you over to the hospital.
I would totally do that, but I really, I just want to get some food and take a minute, and I can drive myself to the hospital. I don't want to feel like I'm some, person they're going to look at differently because I am showing up with, sleeves and people, and I just.
Let me go check on a couple of things really quick, and then I'll be right back. Okay?
Okay, you said I was free to go.
Are you wanting to leave right now?
I'm really hungry. I'm thirsty. My lips are chapped.
Okay. Can you give me just a few minutes to just check to make sure that I've covered everything that I need to cover, and then I'll come back in?
She said that I would be able to go.
And I'm not saying that you can't. I'm asking if you can give me a few minutes. So.
I can, if you can just call me, or.
Okay. All right. I'll be right back.
Okay, so do you show me how to leave? Please?
I have to go over here. Let me get somebody ready for you.
Okay.
Well, can you talk to me about what,
Can I, you, wait. But you told me I could,
I know, but I left.
I
So we
understand
decided
that.
that I left, and I just wanna get the fill in. So I have a couple questions about Sunday, if you're okay filling that in. I know you're tired.
I'm tired, and
But-
you said that I could go, I just wanna take a break, that's all I'm asking for.
Where do you wanna?
That means I wanna
Where do you
just
wanna-
go rest, like, she said I could drive myself to the hospital, so I just don't want,
What do we need to go to the hospital for?
am I able to just go? I mean, you can know why I'm going to the hospital, because she wants to get, DNA, like, or to have your body checked for, right? Do we think she's supposed to?
When did that happen?
It happened on Monday.
On Monday? Okay.
I can't.
So let me make sure that we've got everything lined up for a standing exam. That's what she was talking about.
Yeah, she's gonna.
Oh,
do
girl,
that.
you ain't gonna be able to go nowhere.
I wanna get food, look at my list,
Mm-mm.
her chat, I haven't.
Yeah, right, okay? Huh.
Okay, she just said I could be escorted out.
Okay.
I promise, you have my number, I haven't not.
You're done with that?
Right, I haven't not communicated with you, I have been
Are you done with that cupcake?
nothing but, can I not take it?
You can if you want.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if you were done with it. We recycled too. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Hang tight for me just real quick. Let me make sure that she doesn't have any other questions because
But
she finished up.
she just said.
Okay, I get that. I get that. Let's just let me double check with her.
She said I could go, that she.
But she finished up the interview. I don't know.
Holding me here?
I'm not holding
Okay,
you.
can someone walk me out?
You wanna leave?
I will clearly answer your questions, I just wanna take a break.
As you have just seen, Letitia has had enough. After providing her whimsical story about Eduardo and expressing her remorse for handing Eduardo her entry code, she has now decided that it is time to leave. Before doing so, officers had a couple more things to accomplish. The first was obtaining Letitia's cell phone.
I just wanna get directions.
I get it. And so, once again, we're back in the interview room.
Okay.
We're on camera. Mitch Maholko, Lieutenant of the Investigation Section.
Okay.
So at this point in time, we had just discussed outside and told me
Right.
I'm wrong,
Right.
and that you decided that you wish to leave and that there's no problem with that. I asked if,
You didn't ask, you took.
okay, so,
You took.
understood.
Okay.
So, at that point in time, you relinquished the phone to me, I took
I didn't relinquish the phone, you took it.
Listen now, I
Okay.
took the phone,
Okay.
and I told you that we would be applying for a search warrant. Is
Okay,
that
you
correct?
said applying.
That's correct.
Sir, I'm not going anywhere. I literally just need directions. I mean, I have family numbers in there I don't have.
Understood.
The second was obtaining her DNA from the Coke can that they had previously provided her.
So you need a colder bottle of water
Or you just
or a
took my
Gatorade.
drink. Are you taking my drink too? What in the world?
Girl, you ain't going nowhere.
Was to indirectly keep her in custody while their warrant was reviewed. One by one, the officers danced around Letitia and accomplished the first two tasks. But in response to the third task, Letitia quickly started stuffing tissues in her pants and stating that she was having chest pains and shortness of breath. She was immediately rushed to the hospital in an ambulance and didn't respond to any of the paramedics' questions. Once she arrived at the hospital, she, quote, seemed to have a miraculous recovery. During her stay, the warrant for DNA samples was finalized. However, Letitia had no serious health concerns and therefore was released by the hospital. Upon her release, without telling any of the law enforcement present, she slipped out of the building. Technically, she was not yet under arrest, so her avoidance of law enforcement at this time was deemed legal. She was picked up by someone unknown and was later seen meeting with Harley several miles away, leaving her Volkswagen Tiguan to be seized and searched by law enforcement. The investigators now had both Letitia's vehicle and her phone. They decided to focus on her vehicle first. Using the data stored in the Tiguan's onboard GPS, they were able to determine the whereabouts of the vehicle during the January 28th gap that was mentioned earlier. During this gap, the vehicle meandered its way to the neighboring Douglas County. It lingered for about 12 minutes in a rural area around Highway 105 and South Perry Park Road before leaving. After gathering what information they could from her vehicle, they then focused on her cell phone. A peek at Letitia's search history revealed what seemed to be Letitia's true feelings about her role as a stepmother. It was almost as if she used Google as a therapy outlet. Some of her searches before Gannon had gone missing included, I'm overdoing all of the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help. My husband's ex-wife does nothing for her kids. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a Valentine's card since I'm raising her kids. Additional Google searches were also found, revealing additional clues. It is believed that these searches were made on January 27th, just before Gannon was reported missing. My son burned the carpet. How do I fix it? Smoke from fire effects. Will humidifier help? I don't like my stepson. I don't like my stepson. Should I get a divorce? Al Stout cheating. Al Stout Instagram. Al Stout cheating in Colorado Springs. Find me a rich guy who wants someone to take care of his kids. One day, some people will wish they treated you differently. You'll never know when it's too late. Blood is spurting from an arterial bleed, direct pressure not controlling. How to get blood out of sheet. Can I spray paint blood? El Paso Sheriff's Office phone number. Investigators also uncovered some questionable text messages between Letitia and her daughter Harley at around 5 p.m., also on January 27th. In these messages, Letitia asked Harley to pick up a carpet cleaner, trash bags, and baking soda. In Letitia's Notes app on her cell phone, detectives uncovered a note which Letitia stored a series of questions directly related to Gannon's disappearance. In the case involving missing child Gannon Stauch, do you intend on telling the truth? In the case involving your stepson Gannon, did you inflict harm on him in any way? Did you accidentally hurt him in a physical way? Did you murder your stepson? Do you know personally who was involved with your stepson's disappearance? There may have been a connection between these notes and a search that was made on January 29th. Letitia Googled fake lie detector result websites, specifically websites that would allow a customer to arrange a private lie detector test and then provide the customer with custom or fake results. The day after the interrogation, Gannon's status was changed from a runaway to an endangered missing child. This change in status allowed the El Paso Sheriff's Office to reach out to the FBI, as well as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, to request assistance in their search efforts. The search that followed was described by Lieutenant John Sarkeesian as the biggest search that anyone I've worked with in over 20 years has been a part of. As the search efforts escalated, Letitia decided to take part in an interview with a local news channel, KKTV, with her back facing the camera.
You are?
I am Tisha Stout, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20 some death threats already. Two, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home, and of course I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, you know, and in doing the investigation I was told I wasn't complying.
I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the search.
Oh yes, wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been...
Whether it's the wounded soldier on the battlefield calling mother, or the young player on the sideline mouthing, "Hi, Mom," to the camera. In moments of distress or elation, where do people's minds always turn to? No one else can take her place. No tie in life is as strong or lasting as that of a child to his mother. By Linda Weber. wounded soldier on the battlefield.
Told at least 10 different ways that
Oh.
these people have these conspiracy theories.
Okay.
I guess they watch a
Gonna
lot of
start
live
on the
shows
other
and
foot.
They have all these theories on how
Okay, this is
Gannon is dead.
how
And that's what they're
some of
saying.
my day
so I'm like,
goes.
why are you saying Gannon is
Right.
dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have. My family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. We've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we can protect each other. I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. And I just want everyone to know that
Okay, I'm
we're gonna
starting
fight
on the
Gannon.
other
And I love
foot.
him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so
Okay, and
long.
then I'm gonna,
Any message for
you know,
Gannon?
make up
The message for
lace
Gannon I
time.
have is, Gannon, when you
And,
get here, you'll be able to
baby
tell
booty.
what happened. And then I really
This is
hope I
one.
get a sincere apology from everyone who
I'm
has made
making the
all those
second one
things,
right now.
especially from my husband. We just wanted to add a message to Gannon from my family, is that we love you and miss you, and we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
Directly following this interview, Letitia rented a 2020 Nissan Altima. Unbeknownst to her, investigators had already placed a GPS tracking device on this vehicle. The tracker indicated that Letitia and Harley first went home to pick up their belongings, and then they headed to a downtown hotel to stay for the night. At approximately 3:30 p.m. the following day, Letitia left the hotel in the Altima. About an hour later, at 4:41 p.m., she drove to the same area that her Volkswagen Tiguan's GPS data had indicated that it had stopped for 12 minutes during the January 28th gap. Letitia stayed in this location for a short period of time and then returned to the hotel around 6 p.m. The two got back in the Altima and proceeded to go on a cross-country road trip to Florida, first checking into a hotel near Pensacola and then stopping by Pace, and then continuing to Orlando. And finally, driving back to their old home state, South Carolina, where they would remain for the following month. While the two continued their mother-daughter vacation, the authorities worked together to exhaust every lead that they had. They did interviews, collected video surveillance, talked to neighbors, and even contacted local trash management companies to track down any evidence or clues that may have been thrown away. Many people promptly provided tips to law enforcement. Not all of these tips were legitimate, but the ones that were
I'm
led
not
to huge
teaching.
breakthroughs in the search for Gannon.
I'm
For
just
example,
doing.
a neighbor that lived next to the Stout
Okay.
family home had a security camera positioned in a way that was able to capture a moment on January 27th where Letitia can be seen getting into a red pickup truck parked in her driveway at 10:13 a.m. Gannon can then be seen entering the back of the truck before it drives off. At At 2:19 p.m., the truck returns to the house, but only Letitia exits. Gannon is nowhere in sight.
Missing for more than a week.
It seemed like he just vanished in midair. It's like he couldn't vanish.
Tonight, a neighbor's surveillance video is bringing new clues to the disappearance of 11-year-old Gannon Stock.
That was the video they needed. That's the break in.
And the man who turned it over says it raises some serious questions about who's involved.
She was lying.
Denver 7 News at 5 starts now. Tonight, that new video could break open the case of a missing 11-year-old in El Paso County.
His stepmother first reported him missing last Monday after she says he went running to a friend's house.
Well, tonight, the neighbor's surveillance video is raising questions. He says it shows Gannon's stepmother, Letitia Stock, getting into a truck with Gannon and later returning without him. And the video could change the timeline of events.
WSM Jason Rednow are live down in the Springs tonight. And Jason, investigators are now looking at that video.
Yes, that video was given to investigators here at the El Paso County Sheriff's Office yesterday, the same day that crime scene investigators were back out at the house looking for new evidence. And if that video shows what the neighbor who took it says it does, it could change everything.
That morning, when I saw her back the truck up and him getting it.
The neighbor of missing 11-year-old Gannon Stout says this security video shows the boy getting into a red pickup with his stepmother on the day of his disappearance.
My Xfinity camera, it picked it up. It picked up the young lady taking him, it picked up him getting into the vehicle and her taking him off about 10:16 that morning.
4 hours later,
and then she returned about 2:16 without him.
Gannon was reported missing by his stepmother later that day. A spokesperson for the El Paso County Sheriff's Department tells ABC News they do not dispute the neighbor's description of that video, but wouldn't comment further today.
This footage was submitted to the Sheriff's Office on February 4th, 2020, the same day that investigators were searching through this Stout household, looking for new evidence. During several searches of the house, investigators found carpet brushes in the dishwasher, which they suspected had carpet fibers on them, an empty gallon of vinegar, and a 9mm gun that had Letitia's DNA on it. But a major discovery that was somehow missed during the initial January 27th walkthrough was more disturbing than they could have imagined. In Gannon's bedroom, investigators found evidence of blood spatter on the walls and bloodstains on his mattress. Blood had seeped through the carpet and the carpet pad and had stained the concrete below. Traces of Gannon's blood were also found on the garage floor and on the bumper of Letitia's car, despite her efforts to wash it off before her first interview. The body cam footage that you are about to see is from a walkthrough of the house after it had been treated with Blue Star Forensic, a blood enhancement reagent that simplifies the detection of blood traces, revealing bloodstains that have been washed out, wiped off, or are invisible to the naked eye. You will hear commentary from the officer who wore the body cam, providing a clearer understanding of what is being shown.
The room is normally set up so that the blue and red table is generally sitting underneath the window. Would be set up. The second bed in the room would occupy this location, the southwest corner of the room. Melvin Gannon's room is the large stain in the southeast corner of the room. The markings that you see on the wall are marking spatter marks that were denoted by the Metro Crime Lab. Each of these stickers is indicating a blood spatter pattern that was denoted and documented.
It was later determined by experts that the blood patterns indicated that multiple violent acts were likely committed in Gannon's room. Those who knew Gannon's father, Al, have stated that the security video, along with the blood found in Gannon's bedroom, eliminated any remaining doubts that he had of Letitia's involvement. They also stated that after viewing this footage, Al broke down, crying and saying that Letitia lied about Gannon going to a friend's house. A day later, on February 5th, 2020, Al and Landon released a heart-wrenching video statement, pleading for any information regarding Gannon's disappearance.
How do I describe my G-Man, my Gannon? Gannon's my hero. I love him so much. He's not only my hero, he has multiple people that call him his hero as well. He has so many family members that just look up to him at such a small age. He's full of life. He's happy. He's energetic. He loves sports. He loves Sonic. He loves going outside, playing with his friends, his sister, his neighbor, especially Braden. This neighborhood basically gives you a true example of who my son is. Everybody coming together, all the smiles that people have. This is why I have hope, because I feel it. This is Gannon truly speaking to our community. Gannon he loves Blue, he loves Sonic, he's into coding, he loves riding his bicycle with his sister, and I know that he's missing that right now. This week has been awful. It's been more than a roller coaster ride. It's been more than emotional mess. I don't even have answers for my feelings other than I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I would never hear his voice, that I would never hear him run and say, "Mommy," that I'll never hear those corny jokes that he always tells every single day. He has to tell me a joke. He looks forward to telling me something silly. And I'm afraid that I may never see that again or hear it. I don't want to believe that, because that means that I'm giving up hope, and I'm not giving up hope because my son is full of hope. So I'm urging anyone that has any leads, credible leads, if you're too afraid because you know something, a kid just doesn't disappear and no one sees him. It's not how this works. So if you have anything that's credible, if you're afraid, don't worry about it. Imagine my son, how afraid he is. Imagine how afraid Gannon is. So please call, please write. If you need to have someone else to do it for you, please do. Because my son deserves to be here. He deserves to be here.
Another influx of community support came in as a result of this plea, and the investigation went onward. Throughout the weeks of authorities searching for Gannon, they also managed to catch Letitia changing her story multiple times through phone calls with Al. The first change was that this mystery attacker was actually still in the house holding Gannon hostage when the police came to the house to take a runaway report.
The police came. He was in the house.
Where was he at in the house?
I didn't know at the time. I thought they were going to find him because the guy was like, "Can we please search the house?" And I said, "Sure."
Okay.
Terrified, which is why I said Lena and Harley and Dollar Store and all these places.
Okay, all right. Well, that's huge. That's huge, because now we can look at different camera time frames and all that, and we can look at different angles.
And the second change was even more elaborate. Apparently, this mystery man was actually following Letitia around that evening and managed to get into her truck. She also added that she now had this man's name.
I'll give you his name. I swear to you.
Give me
When
one.
I tell you this part, this is why I want immunity.
Okay.
This dude, he followed me. The guy followed to Petco, and as I was pulling off the road to Palmer Lake area, somebody
Where are you lying?
when I turned around and came back the other way, and this dude gets in the truck with us. I didn't have anything.
You're lying.
Not anything to anybody off or anything. I had to go like a normal time. Anna was crying in the back seat till he threw up. He was so scared. He came with us all the way back to the house. When we get there, he's still in your car at this time. We all get out. The guy was with us the whole time.
Okay.
The whole entire time. I asked him, what did he want? He could take everything he wants. He could rob us. He could do whatever he fucking wanted. Have it all. There was a struggle. There was everything back and forth. Everybody say anything he has done. It was just terrifying. All I can hear is Gannon screaming. I didn't know what was going on. I don't know how bad he hurt Gannon. I don't know. There's no accident where I heard it. There's nothing like that. People keep saying that. He hurt. I was fine. When I ordered.
Okay, well, who is he? Who tied you up? Who did this? You didn't do it. Who did it? Who hurt Gannon? Who has Gannon? Who wants the money? Who hurt you? Quincy Brown. So Quincy Brown is the one who has him.
Just to make things clear, the disappointment heard in Al's voice when Letitia named Quincy Brown wasn't because he was unhappy to finally have a name that could lead him to his son. It was because Quincy Brown was a sex offender and one of the most wanted fugitives in the area. His photo had recently been publicized in local news, and it was more likely that Letitia used this name after seeing it on the TV. At this point, many of Letitia's claims were already proven to be false, and following the leads that she provided repeatedly led to dead ends. So, investigators continued their search near Highway 105/Perry Park Road, where Letitia's Tiguan GPS data specified that Letitia was during the January 28th gap. Eventually, a piece of particle board was found with a blood stain on it. The blood profile later matched Gannon Stokes' DNA. Then, on March 2nd, 2020, Letitia was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and had just dropped off Harley at a recruitment office for an interview. As she pulls away, she is stopped by law enforcement and arrested for probable cause in the murder of Gannon Jacob Stokes. She was escorted back to the police station, where she took part in another interview.
There's nothing that happened at any house that would have hurt, harmed, murdered, done anything to anyone.
Because everything that I've looked at in this case, when you see the blood spatter on the wall, you see a big pool in the corner.
Okay.
You see your shoes that we collected with Gannon's blood on the bottom of that.
Okay.
And then you point to Eduardo, who doesn't exist, or maybe he did exist, and we don't have a last name. Then you point to Quincy Brown, and then you say Uncle Matt, these names and stuff, and it's like,
Why understand you? Because everything I say, you're gonna tell me that. Oh, blah blah blah. Because you want it just like everyone else. Want it to be me. So that way.
It is you, Letitia.
He's a hero and all these things.
I do not get paid one extra dime if it's you. I don't get paid anything else to find Gannon. It's just
Not me. I'm not the one. Okay? I am not the one. Not the one.
I do now. And whether you did this or not, it doesn't matter to me. If I can't prove the story, whether you tell it to me, Al tells it to me, whether it's El Paso Sheriff's Office, again, I don't take anything as true until I can prove it.
So I'm not taking any chance.
How are you not taking
Because I know the man upstairs knows I did not do anything again.
Well, he's not going to be on the jury.
Okay. Alright, we're not gonna go there with that.
You believe in that higher power?
Oh, I do, that's why. You
What
wanna know
about
why?
the-
You wanna know
study the
why?
truth?
You wanna know why I'm not sitting here like going crazy, freaking out, putting on an emotional show like I've seen people involved in this situation put on fake cries and all that? Because I know God knows that I did not do anything again.
Okay. Tell me the very last time you laid eyes on him. Where was he? Was he laying down? Was he standing up? Was he sitting? Or was he walking to a car? What was? Give me your very last image of Gannon. That's an easy question. You have to remember your last image of Gannon. Letitia. What was he doing? You know the last time you saw him. What would that hurt to tell me?
For the remainder of the interview, Letitia is essentially shut down, scarcely responding to any further questioning. After speaking with police, Letitia was to be extradited back to Colorado to face trial, but not without a fight. She made national headlines after breaking out of her handcuffs and attacking the officer that was trying to relocate her. The weapon of
Okay.
choice, an unopened can of Monster Energy drink.
You broke out of your handcuffs? Yeah? Okay.
Stop! She keeps scratching up! She keeps on threatening me.
The traveling party stopped in Kansas, where Letitia spent several hours in the Salina, Kansas jail, while her escort received medical attention. Upon arriving back in Colorado on March 5th, Al immediately filed for divorce. Letitia ended up pleading not guilty, and while she was awaiting her court proceedings, something was unfolding near the city of Pace, Florida, which was one of her stops during her and Harley's road trip 1 month earlier. The Escambia River is the fourth largest river in Florida, flowing through the Escambia County and eventually into Escambia Bay, which is connected to the Gulf of Mexico. Every 2 years, the Escambia River Bridge is due for inspection. March 17, 2020 happens to be one of those inspection dates. 2 inspectors with the Florida Department of Transportation happened to come across an abandoned suitcase and, out of curiosity, opened it. Inside,
She
wrapped
put
in
that
blankets,
boy in a
remains of
suitcase?
Gannon Steck are discovered. An autopsy revealed that Gannon had been shot in the jaw, stabbed in the chest and back, and suffered a skull fracture. He also had defensive wounds covering his arms and legs, and a bullet lodged in his skull.
Oh, wow. She tortured that boy.
A 9mm gun found in the Stepp residence, the one with Letitia's DNA on it. Letitia continued waiting for her trial, but was showing signs of mental instability, such as paranoia, hallucinations, and so on. Therefore, she was given a mental health evaluation. Despite Letitia suffering severe abuse as a child, which can potentially cause trauma and affect her behavior, she was deemed fit to stand trial. In February of 2022, Letitia and her team made the decision to change her plea to not guilty by reason of insanity, should the judge allow it.
Letitia Stout, the woman accused of killing her 11-year-old stepson, Gannon Stout, is now pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. Stout will receive a mental evaluation. The defense also filed a motion to waive a jury trial, which is ultimately Stout's
Oh, the way she was telling that story,
without
shit.
a jury. He gets the final say whether Stout is found guilty or not.
The judge allowed for this change without first having the results of a sanity evaluation. Also, despite Letitia's last mental health evaluation determining that she was fit to stand trial. Her court proceedings were delayed throughout the COVID pandemic, and the trial was eventually set to begin 3 years later, in April of 2023. The state had over 1,000 pages of discovery, 36 witnesses, and a plethora of video footage, phone calls, and other evidence. It would be a tough legal battle for Letitia's defense team. The goals of both sides were simple. The defense had to convince the jury that Letitia was insane when the crimes were committed, while the state had to convince the jury that Letitia knew the difference between
She
right
did
and
all
wrong
that to
and
that
was in
boy.
sound mind at the time Gannon was murdered. On May 8th of 2023, after a 21-day trial, the jury had reached their verdict.
All rise for the jury, please. Thank you, may all be seated. With respect to count number 1, charge of murder in the first degree after deliberation, we, the jury, find the defendant Letitia Stout guilty of count number 1, murder in the first degree after deliberation. With respect to count number 2, charge of murder in the first degree, child under 12 by a person in a position of trust, we, the jury, find the defendant Letitia Stout guilty of count number 2, murder in the first degree, child under 12, position of trust. With respect to count number 3, charge of tampering with a deceased human body, we, the jury, find the defendant Letitia Stout guilty of count number 3, tampering with a deceased human body. With respect to count number 4, charge of tampering with physical evidence, we, the jury, find the defendant Letitia Stout guilty of count number 4, tampering with physical evidence.
Judge Gregory Werner sentenced Letitia Stout to life without the possibility of parole, with an additional 13.5 years on charges of tampering with evidence and tampering with a dead body. Letitia Stout was housed at the Denver Women's Correctional Facility until August of 2023. She now resides in an unspecified Kansas prison facility.